Okay, hey guys, this is Scourge, and here with Deuces,
How's it going?
and we're gonna be doing a little session review on this session that I actually just finished up at Bovada, 10 and L. It's anonymous tables, so it's gonna be a little different than some other uh, videos that we've done reviews on, but we're gonna look at what we can find, and there are some good spots in here, so let's get going.
Let's do it.
Alright, so let me back up to the beginning here. Open queens, pretty standard.
Oh, it's so weird. No HUD.
Yes, it is. Ducky keeps getting mad at me for not like over limping or completing, so I think that's why I did that in the top right. But I can kind of go either way. What do you think?
Uh, yeah. I don't know. They're both short, so I probably just fold it. But
Okay, yeah,
you
that's a
know,
good point. Stack sizes probably make this a little bit less playable. Obviously, just c-betting with the queens there in the top left.
yeah, it seems pretty standard.
And I actually I feel like top right I probably could have stabbed at the turn when it checks around on the flop, but
Yeah, I think it's a decent card to barrel, but I don't know. He's just so short. It just kind of sucks.
yeah. Yeah, so obviously on the river with the queens here, I just kind of went for a check back because he's not calling with any missed draws, and he's probably not calling with his tens either.
Yeah, I think that's all right. I don't know. Without villain reads, like I might value bet it against people, but
Yeah,
like you said, every draw missed.
yeah.
So
What are you sizing if you're going for a bet there? Like maybe a little less than half.
Uh, yeah, because you're not going to get a call from 10x or 7x of the king. Yeah, probably like, what was it, 340? I'd probably go like 135, maybe.
Yeah, so like a
About
little,
a third pot.
but yeah, between like just a little over a third. Yeah, I like that.
Hmm.
And then we got tens down here. We just called out of the big blind against the under the gun raise, and we're facing the C bet. It's a pot size bet, which I think I didn't notice at the time.
Yeah, and he's short.
And he's short. I'm kind of inclined to just fold this now, looking at it.
Yeah.
It's gonna get gross. We can't really call down multiple streets, but I do end up making the call, and we see this card.
Yeah.
And obviously now it's just gonna have to be a check fold, which is kind of unfortunate. Oh, oh no! What did I? Oh no! What did I do?
Here it goes. Load the gun.
So I think I just turned tens into a bluff here. I'm not really sure what I thought he had, but he just like didn't look like he could have anything strong. So I went for it and he shoves, which is kind of
Yeah.
sad because I did exactly what he wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And obviously
Something
snap
like Queen Jack or something that like that Jack apparently.
yeah,
Jacks.
he's just like not afraid at all of anything out there. This is kind of interesting on the bottom right. I'm gonna back up a little bit because I don't remember the action. So I guess I isolated, and he limp called. We catch that flop. He donks out.
Donks.
He min donks. So my
Yeah.
typical play here is to just raise and pretend it's like a normal C bet. I made it a little small, but he calls, which kind of surprised me. Once again, I have no idea what he has. Like at this point, I'm just like, well, I'm getting like 20-1, so I call.
Yeah, I probably call on the flop to be honest, just because he's so short.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think in almost all other situations, that's what I do. Treat it like a C bet, just a standard C bet.
Yeah, I just like, and especially on this software, like people do this a lot. It's kind of a frequent play, and the most common thing is they min donk and then fold to a raise if you make it sizable. But so he min donks again on the turn, and he actually does it again on the river. And obviously I have a pair, so now I call. And he has 7-4 suited, so that's a little taste of Bovada for you. I do a lot of isolating this session, and I actually kind of get punished for it a little bit. I start isolating a little bit wider than I normally do, just because I feel like these players play so face up. We got a lot of action going on here, so let's focus on the bottom left first. I just go for a standard C bet here. And he calls. So on a board like this, when a player is calling, are you putting him more on draws or more of a pair type hand?
It just sucks not having any reads. I mean, I'm guessing we can assume he's a fish because he's playing short.
Yeah. Well, let me help you out with the reads. I'll just give like a 3-second synopsis of the average player on Bovada.
Okay.
Loose passive. They're gonna be calling with a lot of draws, but they're also gonna be calling with a lot of second pair type hands. But they're folding more than you might think on later streets, given that they're loose passive. So I would say that, like, I can probably get him to fold a draw at this point, but I probably can't get him to fold a pair that he's called.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 6 is obviously not a good card.
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously, it's not scaring anybody to pair, and plus, even like some stupid 7-8 came in.
Yeah, 7-8 gets there. 8-6 and 7-6 have a pair now, so
yeah.
I kind of like just giving up here.
Yeah,
and just check folding.
If we would have had, I'd probably just check fold, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seems kind of nitty with an overcard, but yeah.
I think I end up barreling here. Yeah, I end up barreling. Find more chips than barrel. And he just calls again, and at this point, we never have any fold equity here, especially with that card on the river. Like, it's pretty much the worst card in the deck for us. So I've gallantly checked fold, but yeah, so he had a pair. But,
he rolls over the 9. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's the annoying, like, folds me out. I want to go back to this Jack's hand because I don't remember what happened.
In that hand, I think if we have King Jack of Hearts, obviously I think that's a turn barrel, though.
Oh yeah, for
Picking
sure.
Up the flush draw,
we have so much equity, and we have a lot of like stacking equity even. But anyway, so on the bottom right here, go for a standard C. Oh, never mind. He just folds. I thought there was more action there. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, let's see. About 20 seconds here. Okay. Yeah, so like I was explaining this to Deuces beforehand, but the software will pop up in front of, even if you haven't acted on a given table, if you have action come up on another table, it'll pop up in front of it, and so sometimes I end up accidentally sitting out a lot.
Is there no auto top up either?
No, there's not. Oh, you can see I'm finally putting a note on this guy, which at this point, like, I haven't really been putting notes because notes only last for as long as the person is sitting at the table.
Yeah, for tabling, it seems like notes just, I don't know. At 4 tables, you can keep track of it enough,
For the most part, that's true. I will sometimes do it, especially if I'm in the same seats on multiple tables, because then the colors in relation to position are the same, and so I sometimes mix them up. But at this point, so many of the players are playing so badly in the same way that I only take notes on things out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, I'll mark someone if they look like a tag, for instance. Just because that's going to help me probably enough during the session that it's worth a little bit of extra effort.
Oh, that's a nice flop.
Yeah, we flop pretty well on, like, a really draw-heavy board, and that's the worst card ever, and I just, like... I don't know what you think about this, because, like... Sorry, let me go back just a sec. Because, like, right, we have... I mean, we still have... My thought was to bet fold, because, like, he basically always raises his draws here on the turn. Or his, like, the draws that came in, sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what you think of bet fold.
I kind of like, he's been really passive so far this whole time. I kind of like barreling like something like a third pot or something pretty small. Like even a quarter pot, because they're not going to, the fish aren't going to take any notice.
Yeah.
And if I get raised, like you said, it's a bet fold, but, if he calls with a draw and we, the river's anything that boats us, even a 10, we can chop a straight.
Yeah.
We might have a chance to stack him. So
yeah,
I'd probably go.
Yeah, I agree. I like going bet maybe a third a pot and bet fold, but he ends up just calling actually, and standard raise with king 10. He just calls and this river comes off. And what are you doing on this river?
Oh man, I probably go really small again. I'm going like quarter pot value bet, and folding to a raise.
Okay, yeah.
I think he can call with queens. I think he can call some eights even.
Yeah, that was kind of
some worse signs, something like that.
Yeah, I don't really know honestly what I was thinking here. I think I tricked myself into thinking he can raise trips here when he's a really passive player and there's just no chance. So I do end up calling off here, which I think is a terrible, terrible mistake for 50 big blinds.
I mean, did he have like 10 jack or 9 queen or something?
Yeah, he had jack 10 or something like that.
Jack 10, yeah.
With the with the straight flush draw.
Yeah.
He had some pretty cards there. Yeah, I mean, I don't think my bets at any point were that bad sizing wise. Like I don't think they're terrible, but obviously calling off is pretty bad.
Yeah. I think it's a good learning moment.
Yeah.
I would have bet a little bit smaller on the flop or not on the flop. I'm sorry, a little bit smaller on the turn.
Yeah.
And the river, but yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of like when that happened, I was like, oh, this is gonna make a great spot for the video. when I saw that, because it's like.
That's what I always tell myself.
The lesson is like, oh, you know, he can totally do it with this. Like, but if you think he has the nuts, he probably does.
Yeah, he's played pretty passive. Oh, that sucks. He left.
Yeah, hit and run. The old hit and run. This is kind of an interesting spot on the top right. Yeah, see, I'm isoing really wide on the bottom right. But top right, I think I flat. Yeah, and this is not the kind of hand that I would normally do that with. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about it. Facing pretty passive players, I kind of like just folding, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like calling with that out of position. I mean, again, I don't know enough about player number 5. Light to ISO the fish who limped in, then you can 3-bet that, I think, pretty small.
Yeah, okay.
And get folds.
And then.
But I probably just fold it with no info. I'd probably just fold.
Yeah, and then I think on the turn, you know, I lead out because it checks around on the flop, and I think that's pretty bad as well because people are going to check behind a lot of aces here on the flop.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that both the limpers definitely could.
And then obviously when he raises, we're snap folding. Min raises the nuts basically, and here I'm actually, it's kind of weird because I'm facing a lot of raises on different tables, which is not common for this site. I mean, people are mostly passive, so it's definitely, you don't really think about it, but it gets a little bit frustrating because you have to keep folding. You're like, how can they have it every time? But I mean, they do. They're not raising without something.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of the price you pay once in a while for c-betting nearly 100%. Which you have to against these players because they're going to play SoFit or fold for the most part.
The thing I've noticed, I would just keep c-betting smaller since stack sizes are smaller, that's all, but I think you're doing fine.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people are short stacking here, so c-betting smaller is probably a good idea. Believe I over-limped the ace-7 suited in the bottom right. And then I took a stab at this pot in the top right. Let's focus on the bottom right for a second here. Actually, let's focus on the top right because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Do you like barreling here?
Continuing.
Okay.
Yeah. Picked up a gut shot. You stole your flush draw.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I think you're even going to be good with a pair of jacks sometimes there.
Okay.
Not a ton, but
right.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot.
But we can definitely check back with a jack and expect to be good a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
Okay. Cool. A lot of people were chatting it up tonight, too. It was kind of funny. they're not usually so conversational. I don't know what it is about Monday nights, but apparently people are going a little crazy tonight. Um, yeah, so I think I was about to flat. Oh, I don't like that flat. I was gonna say I was about to flat, but then I fold because he's so short. But I think I don't know why I decided to flat. Maybe because of these people in the blinds, but I think it's still probably just a fold a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a fold, and then obviously once we call, we have to call the 2 big blind 3-bet.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
And then this is just like a snap fold, obviously. But it's pretty interesting to see like what they get it in with.
ace-8, yeah. Yeah, he did have ace-8. It's great.
And then it's kind of interesting to see the kinds of like hands that people are willing to go all in with, like the those pocket sevens right there, where like he should never expect to be good, but he's like, well, I have a pair on a dry board, so I get it all in.
He made the great move of min 3-betting 2 big blinds.
Yeah. So here with the ace 10, I believe what happened was it got limped around, and then oh no! Someone made it like 20 cents, and I just flatted in the big blind, and we went forward.
There's just the small stacks just make everything so much more complicated, because if you 3-bet that to like 80 or 90 and he shoves, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think flatting is the correct play. Are you leading or check raising this flop, though? I mean, we have the virtual nuts. It's a little bit gross. It's a little gross because, right, like, we can't expect them to bet, but I think they bet enough that check raising is definitely profitable.
If we're 100 big blinds here, I probably lead out, to be honest. But since everybody's so short, we're not gonna, we don't need as many streets to get in here.
Yeah.
I kind of like checking and seeing. Yeah, I kind of like to check.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I mean, the only, there's some straight draws or whatever, but there's no flush draws out there.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a dry enough board that I could just let it kind of go and see what happened.
Yeah, I agree.
But unfortunately, nobody really does anything crazy, and I just bump it up, and I think I take it down. But I won 20 extra cents, I suppose.
Hey, still 2 big blinds.
Yeah. Oh no! Yeah, I get calls. Oh, just get the worst board in the world, the worst card in the world, except for like. I guess
I mean, I'm still continuing here like every time.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, there's still worse pair. There's still worse every time.
I'd probably make it a little bit bigger on the flop too. Like that raise, I'd probably go to like 70 or 80.
Okay. And then I basically set myself up for a river shove if this blanked off, but I kind of realized that he's going to be again not polarized exactly, but he's going to either have hands that beat me or like draws that have completely missed for the most part. In terms of like, he's not going to call off with like a pair of 10s here, I don't think.
Yeah. Let's see what he does here.
And I just check back, but yeah, so.
Oh, there you go, 8 high.
So he's obviously not calling me with 8 high, but it kind of makes me wonder what he was doing on the flop because he didn't really have a draw or anything. But I think a check back is correct on that river. I'm not sure what you think, but.
Yeah, I mean, his stack size just sucks because he's so short. I mean, we're pretty much putting him in, a half bet's going to be his entire stack.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the one who had that 7-4 on ace-4 or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might actually just value bet it and hope he can call me with like a 9 or a 10 or something stupid. But I mean, I can see a check back too. It's not. I don't think it's one of those like lopsided spots where something's right.
Yeah, I think it's probably relatively close, and I just decided to check it back. I also get to see what he has that way, which is, not worthless. I'll say that.
Marginal making a cameo in the video.
Yeah, wasn't too much going on here, I guess.
Huh. Looks like player number 4 got felted.
Yeah. Oh man. Chat's starting to heat up too in the top left.
Yeah. They're not pushing all in with horrible cards.
Yeah, it's really funny when you get anonymous tables and people like there's already anonymity on the internet when you're playing cards, but then like you add the fact that you can't even like know who that person is the next time you sit down at a table with them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bad thing. 6-7 offsuit in the top right. I just decided to fold. I didn't feel like there was any profitable way to go about playing this, or any guaranteed
out of
profitable.
position it just sucks because yeah.
HUD-less and no real reads. I just feel like there's no guaranteed plus EV way to play it, so I just decided to fold.
Yeah.
I wanted to call with that hand so badly. I don't really know why. I deliberated. Yeah, so it's the one annoying.
It is pretty fishy.
Yeah. One of the annoying things about Bovada is that you're limited to 4 tables, but I would say that it has kind of forced me to play a little bit better in some ways, because so long as I'm not like trying to multitask, I have so much time on each table. I mean, if you watch the timer for your action, it says 30 seconds, but I mean it's counting down a lot slower than seconds. So it's really probably closer to like a 45-second timer, and then you get a time bank of 30, which I kind of like, because most people aren't utilizing that. But when I do get into some weird spots, I can think it through.
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't know. I don't like the anonymous tables or whatever. Like, I would obviously rather have it, no anonymous tables and stuff for when online poker comes to the U.S. or whatever. But I could deal with anonymous tables. Like, I hate the segregating winners. I think that's just terrible.
Yeah, I would take anonymous over that.
I can see this, fish like this, because, there's no record to keep, how much they're losing and how bad they play or whatever, so.
Yeah, you can't even, actually notice, like, when you're looking at tournaments that you're, like, considering late registration for, actually, hold on, let's look at this bottom left. Do you like, I think, sorry, let me go back just a little bit.
I do like the C-bet with 6-7 there.
Well, he leads out, I believe.
Oh.
And he leads out for kind of a weird amount. Yeah, so he leads out for, it's half pot, and we're getting 3-1. So I'm just kind of curious, are you going for like a raise? Are you calling? Like,
not with his size. I'm probably just calling.
Yeah.
I'm probably opening it only because small blind's there. He's full stacked.
Yeah, exactly.
If small blind had like not a full stack, I'm just gonna fold it. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then here, I mean, just like he gives us 3-1, and I feel like it's kind of criminal to fold to just one bet.
No, yeah, with an he's got like an 8-5 or a draw. He's not donking an ace, I don't think, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
So he checks, and I feel like that's just like so weak when he donks out and then doesn't continue. Because he's never afraid of the 5 if he has an ace. So I think I like going for like a half-size pot bet. I think that gets the job done.
No, I agree. That's what I would do.
Okay.
His stack size sucks, but
yeah, I think honestly the stack size doesn't even matter a whole lot here, because he's just portrayed his range as so weak here that he literally can't continue.
Yeah. I like leading out with the king there too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty standard, but still.
Yeah.
Hi, Henry. My kitten's sitting with me.
Oh.
Come here, buddy.
No.
The orange tabby cat. Come here, you.
Yeah, I really hate my overlimp in the top right here. I think I was thinking, oh, suited gapper, but it's a suited double gapper, and it's just too weak.
Yeah, I'd either ISO it or just fold it.
Yeah, I think even ISOing it is a bit thin. 10 high, even suited, is
Yeah,
a
I mean,
little
unless
iffy.
he's, again, without the reads knowing he's like a fish or whatever, like a big fish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like I assume most people playing these limits are fish. Like again, unless I see someone making like an isolating type move, or unless I see them, value betting well, I'm gonna assume they're
Yeah.
bad.
See, I saw a really interesting video the other day on DC. It was from Beluga Whale, and it was about ISOing with like suited connectors like that, like a combination of like ISOing with 9-6 suited in the cutoff. And a lot of people say, oh, it's you want to play big cards, and I see a Aki on Cards Chat all the time. You'd rather have King 4 suited than 9-6 suited or whatever. But Beluga made a really good point. It was like, yeah, that's optimally you would want King 4 suited or some big hand like that, but if you don't really have a choice and the fish is just limping and nobody's taking advantage of it, just ISO them anyways, because you're in position. You're gonna get the check back flops you don't like, and you take control of the hand, and we make our money post flop on fish, so
yeah,
just do it anyways.
I think there's definitely something to be said, especially on the anonymous tables, for being really unbalanced. In terms of you can isolate like crazy when people aren't looking at stats on you.
Yeah,
and especially fish where they're going to be playing so fit or fold, and that no one's going to adjust. That no one's adjusting and being like, oh, I'm going to like limp 3-bet. Like no one's doing that.
no, yeah.
So, but anyway, I paused the tape here because we've got a little situation brewing here. I raised pre-flop, I believe. And
Yeah,
then,
I think you.
And then I c-bet because I was open-ended here, and he called. And I think he's going to check. Maybe not. Yeah, so he checks. Are you going for a bet here?
Yeah, I'm keeping the pressure up. We got an overcard. We got the open-ender still.
Yeah, I
mean, he's really like check calling on the flop, and then if he check calls the turn, it just looks like, like ace-9 with the ace of spades or something.
I was going to
king of spades somewhere.
I think he's pretty weak here, just like a decent flush draw with maybe a pair, and then like maybe even just a flush draw. So
yeah,
I'm definitely, I think going for another bet is correct here. I don't remember what happens, so we'll find out. Oh, exciting times. You can see all this. He's like, that was clearly more than 9 seconds. Okay, he folded. I thought for some reason I thought this was a spot where he like check raised the turn or something weird, but no. Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting spot because like right on the flop, like he still has the same hand that he had on the flop that he called with, and the board didn't really change at all. But that's kind of just how bad players sometimes are with draws, I guess.
Yeah, you see this player one, don't tap the tank board.
It's so funny. I really almost jumped in, and I was like, nope, this is gonna be in a video. I'm gonna play it cool.
I'm all for parading short stacks. Make them buy in pool.
Yeah, I marked him with red because he said don't tap the tank. That's like why I said it. That's like why I said him to that. I just call here, and I actually lead out here. I want to know what you think about that, though.
I kind of like it. Yeah.
Do you? Do you prefer anything else? Like
player 5 just throws us all off, but yeah, I kind of like leading out.
Yeah, I mean, my plan is like if I end up just against player 5, it's getting all in, because like.
Oh yeah.
He made it like 20 cents pre-flop, and so I just feel like he's gonna have a lot of big aces that he just is comfortable shoving in.
Yeah. Because we obviously can't check raise this board because we're kind of like repping nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like we can
Except
maybe.
what we have.
Yeah, we can maybe get called by worse, but like not enough of the time. So we do get called. We do get called, and then, yeah, he folds, and we get this turn card, which is basically the best turn card ever. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm like auto betting here, and
yeah, I'm just putting them in.
I'm just putting him in. Yeah, I didn't size
You
it
know,
perfectly, but I also kind of anticipated perhaps someone else coming in. So um,
no, yeah, I think you're fine. I mean, he's going to show up, I think, with enough aces, like even just something stupid like ace queen or ace king.
yeah, so that time
Eh,
he does have eights there, but
yeah,
I still think it's the correct play. He definitely calls with his lower pocket pairs too, um, like sixes and threes. But
I mean, I think he's going to show up with like ace king or something stupid like that a lot of the time. I
yeah,
wouldn't be worried about it.
yeah. So yeah, here at ISO, there's like a lot of money out there, and you can see like sometimes you'll just get a lot more folds too than you might expect. It's kind of surprising to people who like limp fold. You'd think that that's the worst thing you could possibly do, but they do it. And I see bet here with a fairly dry board, a little draw heavy, but I'm blocking a lot of the draws, and I have a gut shot. Um, Catch top pair,
Yeah,
obviously betting for value.
I think I'm betting closer to pot
Yeah,
just
you're
because of
trying to
the
get him in.
draws.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I would sometimes go closer to like three quarters there. I don't normally pot it just because I feel like I get too many folds, but um, yeah. And I decided to fold the fives on the bottom right there just because of stack
No,
sizes.
yeah,
Do
definitely.
you like this
Definitely.
value bet on the turn here?
Oh yeah, I like continuing.
Okay, because you think he has a ton of
Yeah,
draws still, right? I mean, there's Jack 10, there's gut shots, flush draws.
yeah.
Um,
I don't think he's gonna fold a queen.
it's
I mean,
a
I think the ace means he might fold middle pair like a nine, but we're
Yeah,
getting value from all the draws
yeah.
here.
It's a little gross because he can still have the ace of diamonds with a draw, but I think we'll hear about that if he has it. Just a bet fold spot, and he just folds. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure against that player that we can really value bet there, but again, without reads, I think it's a fine bet.
No, yeah, it's too draw heavy. I think to ever do anything but bet.
Yeah. Cool, cool. All right. Marginal didn't end up saying anything outrageous. I was disappointed. But yeah, it's kind of interesting with Bovada because like I've considered starting to play more tournaments because I've actually found people fold more and they're still playing just as exploitably, but you can get away with some more bluffs,
Yeah,
um, which means that it's a little easier to accumulate chips, even in a tournament format. But at the same time, they just don't have a very full schedule, and there's not that many guarantees. So I feel like sticking with cash is probably my best bet, so to speak.
yeah. I don't know. It just feels like you know, as a U.S. player, at least the way I'm looking at online now is like I understand I'm probably not going to be making a ton of money, but in the 50 NL games, and it's literally all regs, and it sucks. It's like I feel like I'm lighting money on fire, but
Yeah,
I do feel like I'm learning. So if/when it ever comes back, and then just overall as a player in general, I feel like I've learned a lot dealing with this stuff.
yeah, I agree. I mean, for me personally, I regardless of whether online poker comes back in the U.S. in any comparable way to what it was before, I feel like this is practice for just keeping sharp for even for live play. I mean, especially
Exactly.
with Bovada. I mean, like this is kind of I would argue that
Oh no, this is live.
yeah, this is
No
live.
reads and short
This
stacks.
is
Oh yeah.
this is live play, but like worse because you don't even have faces to like put people to, and there's no regs. Like you don't
No, I
live
agree.
you run into regs and you know how they play and they're like tight as hell and you just kind of avoid them. I mean,
Oh yeah.
depending on who they are, obviously, but um,
See
uh,
bottom left here. I actually see bet this.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
for
see
sure.
bet this
It's
board a
so
lot.
dry. I into two players. I think it's obviously it's not as profitable as into one, but it's still profitable for sure. And
Yeah,
I
like I
get
hate
shoved
c
on.
betting multi way, but I Yeah, I mean, obviously we're folding, but what are you gonna do? I actually think that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, what are they going to call with? Like, literally pocket pairs and eights can call, and that's it. And flush draws, maybe. And we have a lot of
Yeah,
cards we can barrel as well if they just call us.
yeah. Every heart's a good card. Plus kings, any face card, any heart.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Sweet. All right. Haven't done anything too bad except for, like, calling off 50 big blinds to a fish's shove on the river.
If that's the worst thing that happens, then you played great.
I mean,
That's not the worst.
that was
only
pretty
50
bad.
bigs.
Yeah, right. That's only a 50 big blind mistake. I don't know. If I can find a spot where I could have saved half a buy-in by making the correct play, and it was like that obvious, I don't know. I get a little annoyed, but it's all in the learning process.
Yeah.
That's what I've started telling myself to justify things. Like I'm like, oh, I played kind of bad, but I learned a hell of a lot.
Hey, you know what? I mean, I don't know anybody who just sat down and pokered and instantly started crushing.
Yeah,
You know.
that is definitely true. It's kind of sick. I feel like if I'd been born 5 years earlier,
Oh,
I'd
I know.
just
I
be
think
like
about that all the time.
destroying this game.
Oh, I know. I think about that all the time.
Or not even destroying it now, but like how much money I
Oh.
would have made.
I know. Like watching some of those old videos with like 400 NL running like 10 NL does today. Like,
Yeah, it's insane.
it hurts.
But yeah, it does also kind of make me want to start learning more games. Like Deuce 7 low ball is one I've been kind of looking at a little bit more, but there's nowhere for me to play it. So
Yeah, I don't like my local casino has an Omaha 8 or better, but it's like the same 6 people play it. So
well, depending on how
you should
badly
learn
they play.
PLO.
Yeah, well, that's kind of next up on my list here. I'm starting to feel more comfortable with no limit. Like, even though I'm still getting into some weird spots, like I'm feeling so much more confident when I get into them and everything. Like, in this session in particular, I weirdly felt pretty happy with my play. I mean, I ended up dropping, I think, a little under a buy-in. But I mean, I was facing like all these weird raises, and I think I played pretty correct for the most part. But I felt like it was a good session for the video, just because like we do kind of get into a few weirder spots than usual on Bovada. Usually it's just like standard value bet. They all call value bet again. They call again.
Yeah.
This is kind of an interesting board here. I think. I'm not sure.
See, I think I actually lead the turn, to be honest with you. With everybody checking, I probably lead the turn.
I think I do as well. What are you doing in the bottom right here? I just see bet and he called.
We raised. We ISO'd him, right?
Yeah.
I
think it's really close between just like checking and taking the free river to try to hit a gut shot or a pair. Pair queens anyway, and between barreling.
Yeah, I'd probably just check because the 2 is just so bad.
Yeah, I feel like nothing that he calls the flop with folds the turn except for like maybe flush draws. So,
no, yeah, even flush. I mean, I think he's gonna call. The 2 didn't change anything, obviously.
Yeah,
and we don't have anything here, so I'd probably take the free card in position here.
Okay. Yeah, so did I. I think we'll actually win a fair amount at Showdown too.
Yeah.
Like, he still has misdraws here, because he's not going to bluff misdraws necessarily.
Yeah, I don't really like... Yeah, I think that's fine, because when you do that, like, C-bet flop, check turn, bet river, they're just going to snap it off every time. It just looks so obvious. Like,
yeah,
why wouldn't you bet the turn if you didn't... You know what I mean? Like, you have to bet the turn to bet the river.
I feel like the bet doesn't accomplish anything, because we're obviously not getting called by worse. Like, we're not getting called by 10 high.
No, yeah.
And better is almost always calling us down, so...
And the thing, yeah, like, he's not folding a jack, he's not going to fold an ace, he's not going to fold anything, obviously, because the 2 and the 5 didn't change anything.
Yeah, I agree.
if that had come like, I don't know, king of diamonds or something, and he checks again, I might be inclined to take a stab at it, because I think a jack could find a fold, plus some straights came in, and obviously the flush comes in. But
yeah. So this is another fun spot where he donks out for pot. We raised, we tried to isolate this guy, but he folded.
Okay.
This, and then he pots it.
Donks out pot. He did that before too, didn't he? He donked out pot with I forget what it was. He had something. Remember, he donked out pot and we called or something, and then.
Yes, I do vaguely remember that, but I
forget. But
I didn't remember a lot of it in this spot for sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I have top pair. There's tons of draws, and he can have worse top pair that's donking out. So I just kind of like a call. I mean, I don't think a raise accomplishes anything, and we're clearly not folding here.
No, I call. Yeah, a raise. You're just you're taking out everything you beat, and you're leaving in everything that beats us.
Yeah, I
think that's a good spot to just call.
And so this is not the best card. I mean, 5-6 gets there, but when he checks, we're like always good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm firing.
Are you going for a bet?
Yeah, I'm betting.
Yeah.
I think we can get value from a 7. I think we can get value from like 7-5, 7-6, anything stupid like that. 8-6 is still out there. All the other straights missed. 8-10, worse 9s. Yeah, I'm betting it.
Okay. Me too, I think.
That's always the best part.
Oh no, I checked. Oh no. And then we get this. So he.
I mean, it sucks because that 7 just. Oh god, that's like 7-6, 7-5.
Yeah. So here's the thought process that I went through. So the flop came and he donked out, and we just called, and then he checked the turn. The reason why I think his bet is like it's not. I think it's not even polarized. I think it's just basically only bluffs. Because he never ever donks out a 7 on that board.
See, I think he does. I think he donks middle pair on a flop because he's a fish. And when he check calls the turn, he has some draws, but he obviously has some kind of showdown value or draws.
But the size,
and the 7 when he leads out, it's like.
But the sizing,
it just sucks.
The sizing on the flop, though, to me, is just never middle pair. Like. The lines that fish are taking with a pair like that, you saw like the guy min donk with the bottom pair, or which was second pair on the ace-4 board, and obviously that's like a little exaggerated, but I think the sizing is really telling there that it's either, I mean, he either bluffed the flop or he had something that was better than a pair of 7s. That's just what I thought, but
yeah, I don't think he donks out with. See, I don't know. I don't think he donks out his draws. I think he check calls a lot of draws, but. I probably call just because I'm a station. But.
Well, let me put it this way. If he donks pot with a draw on the flop, you think he can donk for half pot on the river here with a misdraw?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just don't think he's donking a ton of draws, that's all. But yeah, I mean, if you think he's capable of donking a draw on the flop, he's clearly capable of bluffing when he misses.
Okay, yeah. I just felt because of the sizing that it was a pretty clear call, but we'll see what happens.
Cry if he
I don't actually remember what he had. So he had ace-10, which I remember being really shocked at that. Which is why, like, I think there's definitely something to be said for the spew factor.
Yeah.
It's clearly non-zero when you're playing people on Bovada. Which, it sounds so stupid when you say it like that, but I mean, like, you can't put him on ace-10 there. It doesn't make sense. It's not a hand-reading spot. It's just like he decided to do something really dumb here.
No, yeah, I think that's. I mean, again, I'm calling that river every time just because of stuff like that. It's 10 NL and he's a short stack fish. I mean,
yeah,
that's just ace 10. Oh man.
Yeah, but I really liked that hand. I thought that was fun.
No, yeah, that's interesting.
All right, so I believe we isolated the bottom. And it goes check. What are your thoughts here?
I'm c-betting that flop.
Okay.
Middle pair.
Yeah, I just feel like
since we're trying to ISO that guy.
Yeah, I just feel like it's draw heavy enough. We definitely get called by worse jacks. That's probably fine to do. I don't remember what I do. I check behind. And not the best card. Not the best turn card in the world, but
It's a 5 of diamonds. Yeah.
And he bets half pot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm folding because his stacks is so small. We have to call it the river shove because it's going to be like a pot size bet. So.
Okay. So you're folding because you don't want to commit yourself to the pot and you think you're committed once you call.
Especially when he's calling and
okay. I think honestly the overcall here or the call here makes it even more compelling to fold probably.
Oh yeah.
Just because like what can we possibly beat here?
No, yeah.
That feels comfortable.
Other than a jack, there's literally no rivers we even like. Like a queen puts all the straight jaws into.
Yeah, when the 3 of diamonds came down and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so happy.
Here comes Ducky spamming Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like my call here. I prefer a 3-bet out of the small blind there, top left.
I don't like. Yeah.
I think it's just a little too weak to defend out of position. And then here, I just decided to tighten up a little bit because the stack sizes on the button and small blind, I didn't open. Jack 9 offsuit from like under the gun +1. And Ducky's going crazy.
Crying. Hey, my best mate in Game of Thrones got killed. I'm so upset.
Oh man, retribution.
Weren't y'all lucky? Oh, my cat's all over the place.
Yeah, so this was just kind of a standard, like, had to fold the king 10 because it just totally bricked anything and everything. So, let's see, we've got about 20 minutes left here. I think it's a little bit front-loaded in that we probably won't be too slow going here, but this is a pretty interesting spot, top right here. I believe what happened is I opened. Yeah, I opened, and this guy called out of the big blind. That flop came, and I actually checked behind, just because I felt like I couldn't get that many folds on that board. I don't know how you feel about that, but
yeah, I mean, opening ace-8's kind of loose under the gun, but
yeah, I think it's too thin. I don't like my open pre-flop, but
I just think if we're gonna anything like I don't know, I play really tight under the gun, but it feels like anytime I open under the gun, I'm c-betting like literally every board unless it's something so obvious or something, but. I'm probably just c-betting there, to be honest. Just because of him calling out of the blinds, we're going to make money when he check folds. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about c-betting here. I think it's honestly probably close to checking. And I don't mind throwing in some checks sometimes, but I would have, again, like against this guy, we're going to be in position. We can find good spots to barrel. So I do like c-betting a little bit more than checking.
I like this. I continue on like that turn every time.
Yeah, so I do end up betting the turn, and he check calls, and I end up checking behind. Yeah. I think it's really close, right? Because most of his range should be pretty weak here. But at the same time, if he calls with a 9 on the turn, does he really fold it on the river? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
Like, Jack 9 is definitely calling us down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably just check it. I don't think he's ever going to fold.
Yeah, so he checked back.
Got some pair.
Okay, king 9.
Yeah.
And this bottom right one, we actually checked after, like, I think we overcalled because it was, like, getting 7-1 or something on our complete.
Yeah.
Checked the flop. Obviously, we kind of just have to lead this turn because we don't really we don't really rep a 10 at all. I mean, obviously we kind of do, but it's easy for them to not put us on a 10 because there's 2 out there. but we just take it down, which, no complaints. This top right, he gives us like 4-1, so I just end up check calling with my gut shot and overcard.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Are you betting here on this river?
No, I'm just giving up. I don't think he's going to fold anything at all.
Okay, so even though he checks behind the turn, you just want to check and give up on the river.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Is there?
I mean, we have 10 high. I don't know. He could even make a hero call with ace high.
Is there anything to be said about not calling on the flop if we can't actually make any moves on the turn and river?
Well, I think we're just calling the flop to get the 7, right? I mean, because when the 7 comes, we're going to have the top of it. Like, if he has an 8, we're going to stack him every time because we have 8-10.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of see what your thoughts were on that. I think I do. Yeah, I end up betting a little bit, and he just snaps it off with like a pair of 6s.
Yeah.
I think this is a fairly standard c-bet on the bottom right here. We can definitely get called by worse. On this turn, though, I feel like I can't. Whoa, actually, sorry. On this turn, I feel like I probably would have checked behind if he checked and planned to value bet rivers, blank rivers.
Yeah, I mean, I might delay c-bet that, honestly.
Oh, you don't even want to bet the flop?
I might check the flop back. Just because I just think, like, anything we're getting called by, well, we're blocking 9-10, and we're blocking any straight draws to a 10, obviously. And then we don't mind a 9, because we pick up an open-ender, or a queen even, we're picking up gut shots. I just think he's going to call with a lot of jacks. He might call with an 8, but I don't know. I kind of like the late c-betting, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, I definitely think that's valid. Like, at the time, I was looking at the Jack 8 and thinking, like, he can call with an 8, he can call with a straight draw, but we are blocking a straight draw. And Jack 10 is, I mean, it's top pair, but it's a pretty weak top pair. So we're obviously, we're never ever getting 3 streets here, and that was never in my mind. My plan was to bet the flop, check behind the turn, and possibly bet the river, depending on how the board came out. But he ends up donking the turn, and I think this is just like a snap fold. What do you think?
What is that, about a half pot?
It's like basically exactly half pot.
I mean, I just hate throwing top pair here because it's so dry, but...
Okay.
Well, okay, here. Well, let me throw it back at you. What do you think he's donking with?
Well, honestly, I think there's a lot of stuff he could be doing it with, since we're readless here. He can definitely be worried that we're going to slow down, so he might just have better jacks. He could have picked up a weird type of draw, but the thing is, it's still pretty dry. Like, I'm trying to think of what he can call on the flop that's a draw, that bets the turn.
Yeah.
And the thing is, his sizing doesn't look like a blocking bet at all, which is why I feel like it's just a value bet and only a value bet. And I don't think he can value bet worse than what we have. I don't know if you have a...
No, I mean, yeah, obviously he's value betting. We're behind. I don't know. It just feels so nitty to lay top pair down here.
I understand what you're saying.
Like half pot dog.
But let me just ask, like, what river cards are you comfortable calling another barrel with? Any? Other than like a 10? I
would call, obviously, other than a jack or 10, I would call any river a 5 or 2 also. I really think he has a lot of like queen 10, jack 9, 7-9, something like 7-9 just picked up, the double gutter.
Yeah, I just think
that it looks like a blocking bet to me, but
yeah, well, I think that honestly, there's kind of this weird symptom of weaker players where they're not, once the bets are like over $1 here, they're not going to be making a blocking bet. Now, I could be wrong. He can definitely have 7-9 here, I think, but I think 7-9 might be one of the few kind of non-value hands that he has. I do end up calling, which I didn't remember doing. We catch pretty much. It's not the worst card,
so that doesn't really change much, but 7-9 did come in.
Yeah, and he shoves.
That's about it.
So this is pretty interesting because, like, I'm obviously very back and forth about this spot, and in the moment I called, and looking back at it, I was kind of iffy about it. I didn't even remember that he shoved, to be honest.
That looks like 7-9 all the way.
Yeah.
Like something that just made the nuts. Yeah.
I honestly think that he has some sets here, but not very often. Like twos was the only thing I could think of.
No, yeah. I think he could have some sets here too. Some eights.
I think maybe eights, twos for sure. Fives maybe even that just like stumbled into it.
I think fives definitely.
But obviously we're behind everything that he bets here.
Yeah.
I
wish you would have called just to see.
Yeah, me too.
I want to know.
But obviously I can't call off 80 big blind here.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like spiteful.
Yeah.
Just like I just stare at it for a while. I'm like, is he really betting that? Like, just like I was actually going through it in my head. Like, can I hero call this? And I was just like, no, I can't.
Too bad. I really want to know. And we don't know his name, so we can't go find out.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, I thought that I had to click that to make my time bank, but I think the time bank's automatic, and I turned it off because I ended up sitting out at the end. But I was about to hit the full button anyway. Yeah, as you can see, I was already moving over there.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't show.
Yeah, it was weird. Like the first couple sessions I played at Bovada, people were showing a lot, and since then I haven't seen too much showing information. When you're HUD-less, seeing just like a couple hands that someone's playing and just like getting to understand how they played that hand, like Showdown is just so valuable. I don't know why I thought this was so funny. With Ducky freaking out.
Typical Ducky.
I finally calmed down with opening weak aces under the gun. I think we're actually 5-handed at that table now. Yeah, the new guy just got seated. Are you opening King 6 offsuit on the button here? I think it's like near the bottom of what I open, but I think it's fine to open.
Yeah, I'm probably opening it.
Okay. And then are you c-betting this?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Me too.
It's not a good flop for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little gross because we don't have any kind of equity, really. But obviously, like, most of his range doesn't like this flop, so...
Yeah.
And he calls. So are you barreling?
I'm probably checking back now.
Okay.
Because the fact that he called shows that, he clearly has something involved in this. And I don't think he's ever folding to a turn barrel on a 3 because that didn't change anything. And I mean, if we've obviously the king of diamonds, I'm going to continue, but with literally no equity here, I'm just checking it back. Yeah,
so I mean, like the one thing that I think makes barreling reasonable is his stack size. If you're short stacked, I'm never ever barreling here. I think that we actually have more fold equity because we're actually a little bit deep with him. But I still think it's really, really marginal if it's even plus EV. It's like definitely really close to not.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just don't love it because we get tons of bad river cards if he calls, and we can't really do anything. And he really surprised me with what he showed up with here. That he didn't take a more aggressive line, pre-flop or post-flop. And it was a little gross, right, because I actually could have probably bet the river, and he probably has to fold. But I ended up making a note on him. That's supposed to be a nit, I think. Yeah. Just because like he flats the ace-queen up suited out of the small blind, and he's not playing like a ton of hands. So that's that. I think folding king jack in the bottom left there is pretty standard, facing an under the gun raise and then a cold call.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah.
You could say something about squeezing. I 3-bet almost not at all in this video. They fold a lot to 3-bets, but I think that spot is just a little too thin.
I just hate because in that hand, player 5 and 6 or whatever. I mean, one is like 40 big blinds, one is 20. It's just like if we 3-bet, we literally have to call a shove. Like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
It just sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you did fine. I think folding's good.
Yeah, and by the same token, we don't have enough playability to flat it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, let's see how much time we got left. We got about a little over 12 minutes left, I think. Again, I don't want to say that's all the spots that are there, but I think we've basically run through the big ones.
No, I mean, if you want to just call it here, that's like an hour video. We've had some good spots. So
no, let's see what happens. There's
I'm down to keep going too.
Let's keep going for a while. I'm sure something will happen. What do you think of the of the call here with the King 9 on the button? I think it's close.
It was only 2 big blinds. I don't know. I'm probably just trying to play as many hands in position here, so I probably call.
Yeah, that was my thought. Is that it was so small, and we're gonna outplay him like all over the place here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think for an average person, maybe I'm a little weary about it, but I think you're competent enough to know when you're beat with top pair.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go crazy with the king. So yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
And I like raising here too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I just feel like no one has anything. Now, granted, I can't really rep anything here, but honestly, a lot of the time that doesn't even matter against these players. So I think I go for a raise. Yeah, I go ahead and raise.
We don't hate calls from middle pairs like 8s or below even.
Yeah, and we have a lot of barrel potential as
well. So much equity here.
I think we get called by both of them actually. He kind of tank calls and then he calls because how can he fold now? He's getting like a million to one.
Just pitching that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See what the turn was. See, I'm checking this turn every time. Then I'm flat to 20 cents.
Right, because we're getting like 13 or something ridiculous, 13.5 to 1 or something. Obviously, we're getting perfect odds to just call.
Yeah, and then I think if small blind, obviously the raises we're folding, but
yeah, that's my thought as well.
Yeah, I think that's fine too.
I think. Oh yeah, I remember what happened with this hand. This is a fun one. Standard value bet with Ace Jack here.
He's gonna min raise with
he makes it tiny. So now we're again getting like 13 to 1.
Yeah, I'm calling still.
Yeah, I mean that for that sizing. And we pick up top pair, which is pretty weird here, but then let's see what happens. You know it's not gonna check around to us.
No.
Because that's too easy. Alright, so he bets 260 and he like snap calls.
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty clear fold, even though we picked up a very kind of sneaky pair. I just think that this guy in particular has so many threes in his range.
Oh yeah.
And he could probably have some straights, honestly. Like I don't even know, like pocket pairs and like stronger is probably his range.
It looks like player 2 has something like a middle pair. Like 7s, maybe even jacks or higher a little bit.
Yeah, I think most of his range is going to be 5s through 8s, and then 10s and jacks.
He's got ace 3 down here or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I put him on, like, honestly, I think he has some full houses too. Like, but you don't get to see what he has, obviously.
You can have a lot of, like, ace 5, even ace 3, something like that.
And he's got quads.
Or he's got, there it is, the nuts.
And I was like, whoo, good thing I didn't hit that club.
So what did 2?
He doesn't have to show. It's kind of weird.
That's right. Oh, it's painful.
Yeah, it's really too bad because that would have been a really nice one to be able to see. But it's okay. Let's see if we can find one more spot and then we'll call it quits.
Okay.
Just because I think the way that because I end up getting pulled away from my computer and I just end up sitting out, so it's not like it ends on any particularly interesting note. So we'll try to end it on a spot instead of just like folding bad hands. Are you c-betting this? I mean, I kind of feel like you have to once we isolate out of the big blind.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a fair bit of draws, and he ends up raising us, so it's a fold. But
what's his stacks? Yeah, that's full. Yeah, never
Yeah, I
mind.
mean, he's...
Thought that was a 14 there. I was like, oh, but never mind.
I think I just opened this because everyone was deeper. And we're five-handed, so it's not quite the same thing as being under the gun, six-handed. It's a little thin, but I think it's okay. As Ducky would say, any chance you can get to see a flop with these morons is gonna be awesome for us. So play a lot of hands.
Yeah. Hey, stop it! That's my headphones. Oh.
Your cat?
Yeah, he's biting my headphones.
Fold. Lots of interesting stuff. But yeah, I played a little bit of Heads Up the other day, and that went kind of so-so. I mean, obviously the rake is a killer at 10-0 Heads Up.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know what Bodog is, but Merge, it's literally unbeatable. The rake's crazy.
I was trading chips back and forth with a guy for maybe half an hour, and I don't remember why I'm laughing here. Okay. Anyway, this is gonna be the last spot, but I'll just talk about the Heads Up for a second. So we were we were basically trading chips back and forth, and we both bought in full. No one rebought anything, and by the end, it was maybe half an hour to an hour. Like I think 30 or 40 big blinds had already left the table, which is
the rake won.
Really gross. The rake did in fact win, and then I got into a really gross spot against a guy who was raising $1, so like 10 big blinds in every spot. And I managed. I kept getting good hands, and I was shoving over him. He kept folding. I finally stacked him once, and I stacked him again. I ended up busting against him because I got into two like really weird spots where I had to stack off. But anyway, so player 2 opens here, and we call. Which I mean, I don't know what you think about that. I think it's close between I think 3-betting, folding, and calling are all reasonable options.
Yeah, I mean, with no reads, it just, I don't know. Honestly, I probably fold just because stacks are so small in the blinds,
Okay.
But
yeah, I think that's definitely a valid point.
I think it can go either way.
Yeah, I think I prefer flatting to 3-betting. I think they're both really close to 0 EV, honestly, in terms of the blinds, and then also just we're going to be dominated a fair bit, so we can't really play our top pair hands super aggressively. But anyway, this ends up going 4-way, and we catch top pair, and I think it.
Yeah, this just sucks sometimes, having top pair, third kicker, and 4-way pot.
Yeah, so he leads out. There I am hitting the call button, but I kind of want to know what you think of this spot, because I mean,
I'd probably raise.
Okay.
Come into $2, $2.10, somewhere around there.
And you're playing to stack off against him.
Yes.
Probably not him if he shoves, right?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to be said for raising. I think at the time, I felt that I would fold out everything weaker, and still get called by better. But I think there's definitely something to be said for raising and just even taking it down. I mean, we're gonna have the best hand a ton, but also the board's not great for our hand. I mean, it can get worse for us for sure.
We don't. Yeah, there's really no turns that are great.
I do end
besides a deuce.
Yeah, so I do end up calling, and he shoves, check shove, and then he snap calls.
Yeah.
So here, my thought basically is that first of all, the check shove looks ridiculously strong. It looks like I mean, it could be something like an open-ended straight draw at the very worst.
No, yeah, worried.
But then a lot of the time it's going to be sets 7-8, Queen 8, Queen 7 even.
Ace Queen.
Ace Queen, King Queen, pretty common.
Yeah.
And I just felt like the snap call of the check shove also looked ridiculously strong.
Yeah. Or never good.
that being said, it's a draw-heavy board, and like, you know, if it weren't two players, I'm probably calling. Um, but because there's two, I think I just have to fold this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
No, I think it's a pretty easy fold with, third kicker, top pair here.
yeah. So
against a check shove over 4 players.
Yeah, so I was pretty frustrated when when the hands showed. I'll just say that.
Oh boy, here we go. Like A7 and 9 king or something.
No, it's just what I couldn't put them on this because I'm blocking. So they both had worse kickers than me. They were both just top pair. It's a terrible check shove. It's a terrible snap off.
Yeah, and that's yeah.
And not even just terrible, but terrible and unpredictable. It's not the kind of play you normally see. So I was a little frustrated. So this guy scoops it with his 10 kicker. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's a good spot to end it on. Where probably pretty much made the right play given the info we had, and just they were both near the bottom of their ranges really.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have any like overall thoughts about what was going on there. Obviously, the 50 big blind donk hero call at the end was pretty bad near the beginning of the video, but. Other than that, if you saw any trends.
You played it fine. I think it was a good video.
Yeah, I felt pretty solid about this session overall. I did lose about, I think maybe 80 big blinds, but it's not really relevant.
Oh, yeah.
I actually didn't really get much of a share of premium hands. I just kind of was ISOing super wide, which I think I want to tighten it back a little bit from what I did in this video, but other than that, I felt pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I just think it all comes down to stack size, but I do like ISOing as much as possible. So.
Yeah. All right, so this was Scourge and Deuces doing a 10-0 session review from Bovada, HUD-less, and we're signing off.
Thank you for watching, everyone.
Yep, see ya.